Welcome to Haunted Road Media, exploring the supernatural and paranormal. I'm author and ghost historian Mike Secker. Explore with us. Ghost stories, supernatural tales, and paranormal books are a big part of what we do here at Haunted Road Media, representing a number of fantastic authors who want to share their work. Welcome to our winter showcase. Of course, all these books you can find on hauntedroadmedia.com or Amazon. So first up, our most recent publication, that is Civil War Ghosts by Michelle Hamilton. And what is very, very cool about this book is the fact that these are real ghost stories from the years of the Civil War that were reported in the newspapers at the time. So as you go through here, these are all taken straight from the newspapers. We've included clippings, historic photos, all kinds of fantastic material in this book. So you have illustrations of the Civil War and ghost stories that were reported at the time as real news.
And I cite, let's go to the sources, let's go to when the war is going on and see ever they are talking about this topic.
This was a lot of fun working and editing this book, putting together all the different snippets and headlines. It's really an interesting look at that time of the war between the states and their beliefs about ghosts back during the mid-1800s. Michelle Hamilton, who wrote this, has a master's in history, works at the Mary Washington House in Virginia, and also has other historic books that she's written as well, including Spiritualism in the Lincoln White House, which is really, really an interesting look at our 16th president. Also just recently published from Haunted Road Media is Soul Connection from Marla Brooks. Now this is actually a piece of fiction, which is interesting. We haven't published a whole lot of fiction with Haunted Road Media, but we're always open to it because there is that supernatural paranormal twinge to it with past lives. And so when we had Marla on Edge of the Rabbit Hole back in December to talk about this book, we actually got into a really, really in-depth conversation about reincarnation.
I think that's part of that, part of the reincarnation process. You kind of travel with your tribe, is what people say. We come back in different shapes and forms and different circumstances, but at the same time, we know them. You know each other by their soul, not by their looks or the situation.
So I'll give you just a couple of snippets from the book blurb, give you an idea of what it's about. When Rachel Warren went missing just 2 days before her wedding, her fiancé Adam was panic-stricken. 150 years later, they were finally reunited, but their joy was short-lived because they weren't the only ones back from that past life who managed to find their way back. So notice, of course, the subtitle is A Deadly Obsession. So it's a reincarnation supernatural thriller book. And yeah, you have the romance thrown in there as well. So definitely a very, very cool read. And also makes you think about past lives, reincarnation, and all of that. Now Marla is a practicing witch. In fact, she created the Witch's Oracle deck. She's also a radio show host and has several other books to her credit, so she's definitely worth checking out. So then there's Conversations with Dogs by William Stillman, which is our first full color coffee table book that we've ever put out. Very, very cool. So you have a lot of, color photos of dogs in here, but what is really interesting is William's take on being able to communicate with your pet. So of course this is specifically dogs, and William goes into the supernatural side of all of this. Of course we had him on Edge of the Rabbit Hole as well to talk about this book.
There began to be occasions when I would sit with the family and would be interviewing them and gathering information, and the family dog would come and park itself right in front of me and put a paw in my lap and look up at me like, tell them what is going on here because I can't hold it together any longer.
So he really goes into the innermost thoughts of your dog and the cycles of life, and really gives you a better idea and understanding of how to be able to communicate with your dog on a more personal level. Now, William is a psychic medium, so he has a very unique approach to all of this. Now, Encounters with the Paranormal 4 is our latest anthology, a collection of stories from people from all over. This isn't just me, and it's not just one person. These are stories from people from everywhere. And part of the proceeds go to help the fairy plantations, which is featured on the cover of the book. In fact, there's a rather significant fairy plantation section of the book to tell you about all the ghost stories, personal experiences that people have had at the plantation.
Just talk to me. It might be able to catch your voice. What was that?
All the other stories that are inside aren't necessarily of the fairy plantation, but of people's different personal paranormal experiences. The idea that, hey, I could write a book about my experiences and you may or may not relate to what I have experienced. But with all the significant number of people's experiences that are in this book, there's a much better chance of you being able to relate to somebody in here and just say, hey, I've had that experience too. And that's kind of the idea, is we're all coming together, sharing our experiences and realizing that we're not alone in this and other people have experienced these things. You're not crazy. Toss in the fact that part of the proceeds go to help the fairy plantation, and it's a great book to have on hand. We do that with these Encounters books. And of course, there's a bunch more fantastic illustrations by artist Adam Tillery. And then finally, I know it's past the holidays, but hey, you have Santa Meets the Headless Horseman. So this was just released back in December, just before the holidays. It's a fun children's book for adults. And you have to emphasize that, children's book for adults, because of the twisted humor that's within it. But it's written and illustrated by our friend Lee Ehrlich and his daughter Alyssa. Lee is already published with us, Master of the Abyss. And it's really just a fun book. And I'll show you a little bit of the artwork inside. So they did a fantastic job with it. It's another full color book from us. So we have a couple now, which we didn't before. So Haunted Road Media is kind of expanding the type of books that we are publishing. Of course, this does have, that paranormal tinge to it, but it's a children's book for adults. It's very cool, very fun. Check that out, even if it's not Christmas time. Go ahead and check it out, because it'll be fun around the holidays when it rolls back around. So we have many more great books coming from Chuck Banks, Katie Hopkins, Vanessa Hogel, and many more later this year. So be on the lookout for those. Of course, you can get all of these at hauntedroadmedia.com or at amazon.com. I'll put the links down in the description. It'll just take you right there, so you don't have to worry about going to either one of those sites. The links will just take you right there. And if you're interested in publishing with us, go ahead and send us a note on hauntedroadmedia.com. Just go into the contact section there. I'm Mike Ricksecker. Till next time.